This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. For the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you live and around the world on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, the Starcom Radio Network, the Digital Broadcast Network, and Digital Satellite Network from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our main radio site where you can listen to the X-Zone 24/7, 365, including the live broadcast at www.xzoneradiotv.com. My first guest tonight is Donald Knowling, and we're going to be talking about Tesla. Now, a lot of people have been talking about Tesla over the last couple of years. His technology is becoming more and more talked about. People are saying, well, listen, why are we paying for all this electricity? Why are we in such a mess when it comes to energy if Nikola Tesla, actually had ways that we could get it for nothing? Big controversy, and joining me tonight is Donald Knowling. He's been conducting research and development into exotic technologies for a number of years. He has his bachelor's in electronic engineering. He's an apprentice of another member of the X-Zone family, John Hutchison, and he also has done patent and historical research into electrical engineering. Joining us from Florida is Donald Knowling. And Donald, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you very much, Mr. McConnell.
The Tesla cult, tell me about it.
Well, I started out probably 10 years ago experimenting with Standmeyer type technology, and really expanded my interest from there. And now I'm extremely interested in radio technology and all the variations that it leads to.
As a person who has studied extensively, I would imagine, into the lifetimes and work of Nikola Tesla, do we need to be under this energy crunch that we are under right now based on what Nikola Tesla had discovered and developed?
Absolutely not. And he hints at this in his patents, whereas the Wardenclyffe Tower, I'm sure your listeners are familiar with.
Oh, yes, yeah.
After running his tower for a period of time, he noticed an ionization layer build up around the antenna of the tower, and this created an electrical connection to the ionosphere. And a great deal of the research I'm doing is involved in the utilization of the Earth's, I guess, sort of an electrostatic field. As the Earth spins on its axes, it generates magnetic and electrical potentials that are potentially harvestable. And Tesla had found one of these methods, and during his experimentation in Colorado.
So, what happened to all this technology that he developed, and why isn't it being utilized today when we could so use something that wouldn't just rip the energy and rip this planet apart?
Well, as soon as Morgan realized what the technology was capable of, because not only was Tesla proposing the broadcast of usable industrial levels of energy without wires, but actually harvesting this electricity right out of the ionosphere and for free. And there was no profit motive in the development of this technology for him.
So unless people make money at it, we the consumers cannot benefit from the genius of people like Nikola Tesla.
Correct. Basically, yeah, it would have broadcast this energy wirelessly, anyone with a receiver could have simply tapped into the power source to run automobiles, their homes, their cell phones.
And I'm sure that this technology could have been adapted to transmit other articles and other particles. For example, the helium-3 on the moon that is so rich there, that would also be a great help to the planet and the people of this planet. They know it's there. The problem that they have is getting it back here. Would Tesla technology, based on the free energy that he was able to take from the atmosphere, basically, be used to transmit particles or another element from the moon to Earth?
Yeah, I would say absolutely, in the form of, say, perhaps a particle.
Right, yeah.
That would be doable.
Do you think we'll ever be able to use the technology that Nikola Tesla came up with?
Yes, and well, I mean, honestly, it is being used already.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not common knowledge. I came basically armed with a lot of references to how this technology is being used, and even aspects of the Hutchison effect are patented and known of and being utilized. It's just not in the public realm.
Amongst the other topics that you talk about, one of the ones that I'd like to talk to you about is gravity wave propulsion. What is that? Well,
the first reference I have of it is with the Henry William Wallace patents from 1971. And his first patent discusses the generation of gravitational field using gyroscopes. When you begin to spin up a gyroscope, it will try to maintain its orientation.
Yeah.
And when you spin this gyroscope at 90 degrees to its rotation, obviously there's a resistance, but that resistance is the power input into the system to generate the gravitational field, the localized field. And in his second patent, also from 1971, he discusses using two of these gyroscopic gravity field generators to create gravity field oscillations, where the gravity actually travels outward in waves. And this technology, I mean, this is basically outdated by to some extent by what's been developed now. But this is basically the basis for how gravity wave propulsion functions.
Now, what use would we have as a society for gravity wave propulsion?
Well, it has a lot of different uses, primarily for traveling through space would be the primary. There's a good chance that gravity wave propulsion will also lead to new power sources that are powered by gravity fields, I would suspect.
So with
the two
I'm sorry.
They seem. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I was saying that the two seem to go hand in hand to some regard. The generating gravity fields and anomalous sources of energy.
Would this mean that solid rocket propulsion would no longer be needed?
Correct.
Now, would this also increase the speed of any spacecraft?
Absolutely.
Wow. So why wouldn't NASA be working on this instead of still using the solid rocket propulsion systems that they're using to get the satellites to Mars and the most recent past Pluto? Well,
as I stated before, the technology is simply not for public sector, I guess. The technology exists on record in the patent office,
right?
Such as the Henry William Wallace patent. There's another patent involved in gravity wave propulsion that's much more advanced and involves using particle beams and generating gravitational fields, essentially in the same manner as the Henry William Wallace patents use, but doing it on an atomic level where the atoms of the object become the gyroscopes that are used to generate the gravitational field. And this is where it gets into the Hutchison effect, because this is essentially what John Hutchison is doing.
Now, for the members of the Exo Nation who haven't yet had the opportunity of listening to John or knowing him, can you tell our audience about John Hutchison and how you became to be his apprentice?
Well, John Hutchison is a very avant-garde, self-trained scientist, so to speak, and he made some amazing breakthroughs in regards to anti-gravity and also transmutation, and an amazing breakthrough in a power source, his true crystal power cells, and an amazing genius of the highest standard that I could think of.
I agree with you.
But he was traveling down to the Gulf of Mexico during the oil spill, the big oil spill that occurred offshore, and he was using his big ray gun basically to how would I put this? Basically to break down the oil while it was in the water, and it seemed quite effective. But we were corresponding at the time because he had seen a video I had done on an ion propulsion, and so we met at a Waffle House, and on his way out of town, his fuel pump went out, and he ended up staying with me for some time. We started he taught me some stuff about his crystal power cells and some basics on how they operated, and I made some videos, or actually we both made some videos on the construction of a simple crystal power cell.
Now, all these videos that we're talking about, Exonation, are available on YouTube under the Tesla Cult, TESLACULT. When you go to YouTube, just type that in, and the videos, le voilà, are there. You know what I love about you and John is that you share this information. You're not hoarding it.
Yeah, that's been basically my my goal from the beginning, is to basically reverse engineer some of these technologies in order to share them.
Now, I'm led to understand or led to believe that many companies will buy up patents and then just shelve the product, so the product the product cannot be made and used with the public. Is that true?
Well, I'm sure it is. This hasn't happened to me personally, but I no doubt that these types of things go on. It kind of seemed a very similar case with Stan Meyer, who was offered quite a bit of money not to go ahead with his technology.
Right.
And when he refused, he wound up dying shortly afterwards. But amazingly, the Navy apparently has cracked the code on his technology, because they seem to be using it.
Unreal.
But it's I spend a great deal of time studying it myself. But I'm always, like everyone else, I think, I'm in a constant state of learning, always learning.
Right.
Something new that gets me one step closer to my goal.
What is your goal?
Well, basically to break this energy slavery that we live under.
Right.
And that's the primary focus of much of what I do.
As an electronic engineer, all the different radio waves, cell towers, microwaves that we find ourselves being, just bombarded with, including Wi-Fi in practically every place you go, are these hazardous to humans?
Well, absolutely. The much of this technology, the cell phones, the cordless phones, microwave ovens, all operate. The Wi-Fi routers, they all operate in the same frequency band, just at different power levels.
Right.
Of course, all the stuff is cumulative. So if you're being hit by multiple sources of microwaves, the effect will be cumulative for all the sources.
My gosh. What harm or what damage are we doing to ourselves?
Well, at least to some extent, slow cooking ourselves. I personally like to use my cell phone on speakerphone and hold it right up next to my head. I guess I subject myself to a lot of RF in my experiments, and I guess it makes me pretty sensitive to RF, because I'll definitely get pain whenever the cell phone is close to my body.
Wow.
For a period of time.
Is the present technology, when it comes to the transmission and reception that we find ourselves needing with cell phones and all the computer technology we have, is it necessary, or are there other types of radio frequencies that could be used that aren't as harmful to us?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. when it comes to gravity waves, for example, gravity waves can be used for communications as well as propulsion. Also, if we kind of take a step back in time to the very early days of radio, during Tesla and Marconi's time, we're actually dealing with not so much electromagnetic waves as we are electrostatic waves. And that's the big difference, is that these waves are being broadcast in an electrostatic form that is not as harmful to living tissue.
Would the sideband frequencies of the radio waves be less dangerous to us? And would it be more economically feasible for the companies to just go to a subwave or a carrier wave or even a sideband wave instead of using the stronger dedicated wave?
That's very likely true, depending on the waveforms. It's the waveform of the continuous wave that generates so much heating with the signal. The electrostatic wave is much briefer and less energy contained in the actual wave, or I shouldn't say that. It's more that the energy is more in an electrical than a magnetic form, I should say.
Certain car manufacturers are coming out with the cars being a Wi-Fi hub, basically. My question to you as an electronics expert and engineer is, by containing the RF in a metallic body, are we not just strengthening the effect of the RF within the car, and then therefore exposing the occupants of the car to more danger?
Sounds like a personal microwave oven to me.
Yeah. So how do you want your kid? Fricasseed? Jeez. It's crazy. It seems that by trying to go forward with modern day technology, we're causing more harm to ourselves, and yet nobody's doing a damn thing about it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We're just finding more and more uses for the destructive technology.
Yeah.
For sure.
Speaking about destructive technology, what about all the talk about mind control technology that has been out there for years? HARP is an example. HARP is weather modification, but people talk about the different agencies and governmental forces using mind control. And as someone who has their finger pulse on the electronic industry, is this real?
Yeah, there's a lot of patents that cover it in various forms of it. I guess I would say the earliest form of quote unquote mind control would just be basic hypnosis. And again, it all comes down to frequency and what the effect that these frequencies induce in the mind. There's an interesting patent for a mind control device. Let me see here. The developer is called Glover Lowry, and it's a 1992 patent called Silent Subliminal Presentation System. And essentially what this patent describes is they take some form of audio data, such as voice, and they modulate it at a frequency that's outside of human hearing, an ultrasonic frequency. And basically he's saying that the subconscious mind will pick up the audio data even though consciously it's outside of our range of hearing. So it's in a way, it's sort of like an audio version of AM radio for the brain.
So that would be like the visual subliminal advertising then.
Yes, except in this case it would be sound instead of impulse. And there's other technologies that are more electromagnetic in nature, where they pull electrostatic or electromagnetic fields, or to create certain moods or states of mind. And also there's other patents that discuss modulating radio waves with data at specific frequencies to pick up with the human brain.
I was wondering, I was having a conversation with a friend earlier today, and subliminal advertising came up, and I have to wonder that if some subliminal advertising is actually being used while surfing the web.
I would say there's a very good chance of that.
Yeah.
In fact, I would be very suspicious about how addictive Facebook is for so many people, that there's some type of almost an electronic drug, so to speak.
Could it be like electronic mind control, like you and I are talking about?
Correct.
Yeah, I can't understand why people. I don't understand Facebook. It's like a free-for-all garbage pit. You know, like, do I really care what you cooked for supper? Do I really care what your back lawn looked like after you cut it? Do you need to take a picture of it? Do you think anybody in the world really cares? Like, what's the mentality behind it? It boggles my imagination.
I've noticed that many people have an addiction to the site.
Yeah.
You know, including myself to some extent. You know, so certainly this is not beyond the realm of possibility if it's as simple as just a specific flicker rate.
Right.
That generates a psychological response.
But could a flicker rate actually work with LED or a plasma screen?
Well, sure.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Oh.
In fact, I would say these would be even better to an extent, because they would be much more responsive. I've heard theories about, fluorescent and LED lighting. They're trying to get us to switch over from incandescent.
Yeah.
Because they can modulate high frequency down the power lines, which I don't know how true that would be. That's pretty far out there, but it is possible. I mean, I guess if you wanted to manipulate a mood over a general area, if you adjust everyone's flicker rates on their light bulbs, that's certainly possible.
Hey, Donald, you and I have to take a break for the news at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. Great talking to you. Very interesting. Exonation Donald Knowling is our special guest this hour. He's with the Tesla Cult. Now, if you'd like to see the videos, just go to YouTube and type in Tesla Cult in the search engine. The X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. What is it, Craig? They're new. Digital Broadcast Network and Digital Satellite Network, and of course our good friends at the Starcom Radio Network. Check out Ed Till, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., only on Starcom. Donald and I will be back talking more about Tesla on the other side of this break. Don't go away. What if Jesus came back now and insisted that we listen to him? How would the world be different if Christians really followed the Gospels? For 2,000 years, we've been practicing a religion. Now it's finally time to get it right. read Liberating Jesus, new from Roberta Grimes. Meet the Jesus you never knew. Roberta uses afterlife evidence and biblical analysis to prove that Jesus is exactly right. Learning the lessons that he came to teach is the reason we are born at all. Roberta says he has come back now to insist that we actually listen to him so we can begin to use his teachings to unite and transform the world. Liberating Jesus on Amazon, October 1st, and then wherever books are sold. Jesus has the answers, and it's not too late. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
Jeff Gilson didn't go out looking for adventure, danger, or the answers to most of the controversial political intrigues of the past 30 years. But he found all three when he began investigating the mysterious death of his close friend, Margaret Thatcher's favorite speechwriter. Just an ordinary guy living in a small, sleepy suburb 20 miles outside of London, Jeff's questions provoked a powerful response on both sides of the Atlantic. He was shot at, warned off by the CIA, and formed a close bond with one of Israel's most notorious intelligence officers. Relive Jeff's gripping adventure in his fast-paced book, Maggie's Hammer. Peel away the layers of establishment deception and discover, as Jeff did, that his friend was an assassin with British intelligence, that Great Britain has been America's secret hitman for the past 30 years, and that Princess Diana was not the target in that Parisian tunnel. All of this and more when you visit www.maggieshammer.com and find the link to buying this explosive book online. More and more ordinary people feel they no longer have control of their lives. Jeff fought back. He asked the difficult questions. He set out to redesign his own destiny, and you can do the same using Maggie's Hammer as your guide. Don't waste a moment. Buy it today. Visit www.maggieshammer.com. The Carl O. Helby Holistic Cancer Foundation is a new nonprofit foundation that focuses on a holistic approach to cancer that includes physical, mental, spiritual, and political aspects. Cancer education, research, and care are provided for all types of cancer patients. You can listen to interviews with cancer doctors and survivors and read research on holistic aspects of cancer at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com. That's www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Welcome back, everyone. Donald Knowling is our special guest this hour. He's with the Tesla Cult. You can find all their videos at YouTube simply by typing in Tesla Cult in the search engine. We touched briefly on HAARP in the first segment of this hour, Donald.
Yes.
Is this really what they're doing up there? Are they actually modifying the weather, or is there a more nefarious reason for what they're doing up there?
Well, I think there's a lot of uses for the technology. As far as it's an incredible weapon system on several levels. I mean, we're talking a device that not only could generate or control storms, but potentially generate earthquakes or even mind control on a mass level, potentially. Yeah, I would say that's within the realm of possibility.
So I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, sir, you go ahead. There was a bit of a gap there.
Okay, well, there's more than just the Eastland patent to consider. The Eastland patent is the foundation for HAARP, but there's also a Bass patent that's related to the Eastland patent that takes the technology another step and using wave interference to localize the effect in a region.
Wow. Is there any proof that this technology has been used to create adverse weather on countries that are not really that friendly to the United States?
I would say I think it is possible to get that proof. I don't know specifically of anyone been able to prove it, but I would say that there would be signs of it potentially. I've personally seen. In fact, I saw something in the news just this morning that where was it? It was on RT. There were colored lights in the sky, I believe, Puerto Rico or someplace like that. But a large spot of colored lights and clouds in the sky. But I've personally seen a similar event myself where there was a spot of colored light in the sky, and there were clouds blowing across, and as the clouds reached the area where the colored lights were, they split in half and formed a V as they blew past the region.
Wow. So
I would say it's pretty evident that the region was being heated in a manner described in these patents.
How about these chemtrails that we see? A lot of people believe that chemtrails are actually chemical disbursements into the atmosphere that have an effect on people or crops. What is your take on chemtrails?
Well, they're covered in a David Chang patent called is from 1991, and it's titled Stratospheric Welsbach Seeding for the Reduction of Global Warming. And in this patent, they describe the use of aluminum oxide and thorium oxide in the chemtrails. Now, I know aluminum oxide isn't specifically very good for plant growth, and thorium oxide is radioactive. Personally, I think that even though the patent says that this is for fighting global warming, my personal observations is that this technology can be used to suppress rain in regions like
California.
California. But as along with that, the aluminum oxide would tend to be conductive, and the thorium oxide, being radioactive, is going to generate an ionizing field. So I would say it's also likely that they could be laying conductors down in the sky, or aerial antennas, so to speak, for devices such as HARP to broadcast down.
So it would also have defense uses.
Perhaps. With multiple antennas, say for example HARP antennas,
okay,
the effect could be triangulated throughout the planet. In fact, when it comes to these Tesla towers, if we were to say use them for a power source, what's going to happen is you're pumping this energy into the ground. It's going to form nodal points along the surface of the planet, depending on the frequency of the radiation. And much like, it's going to be similar to like a plasma ball, so to speak. And in the case of, like, say, these towers, you could place towers at all the different nodal points on the planet so that they all are interlinked, so to speak, with each other, drawing power and powering each other all at the same time.
Do you actually think that these chemtrails and what they're putting in the atmosphere would have any effect countering global warming?
I kind of doubt it, to be honest with you, because from what I've seen, they tend to suppress, that they seem to block the natural cloud generation that would occur if this artificial cloud cover was not there.
Right. Could these chemtrails be placing, like you were describing, these grids in the sky as a preventative measure? For example, if something was coming towards Earth from outer space, is it possible that this is a defensive mechanism that, when turned on, it would reflect anything that's entering our atmosphere?
That's an interesting idea, and I would say that's possible. Perhaps like some type of
force field.
Similar, or even just almost like a Faraday type shield. For the
exactly.
planet. Yeah, I would say. Cool.
Yeah, because we know that there's more and more problems. There's more and more solar storms, and EMF blasts coming from the sun that have a horrific effect on our communications, on our grids, power grids, and so on. So if this was actually being used as a shield against solar storms and EMF disbursements and displacements, this would be something really great. So why wouldn't they actually tell the public what they're doing?
Well, probably because the reasoning is a little more nefarious, I would imagine. But an interesting idea, for sure.
Yeah. Exonation, my guest this hour is Donald Knowling, and he is with the Tesla cult. His videos are available on YouTube. All you have to do is type in the YouTube search engine, Tesla cult. What is molecular dissociation?
This is basically where you get an electromagnetic wave to interact with substance on an atomic level. I mentioned this earlier when we were talking about gravity wave propulsion.
Right.
And I mentioned the Hutchison effect.
Yeah.
Well, this is the other side of the Hutchison effect, is the transmutation and the warping of the metals and so to speak. But as far as molecules is concerned, you can literally shake molecules apart with radio waves, so to where something essentially disintegrates.
Well, that would be one heck of a weapon now, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Probably more powerful than plasma or ion weaponry.
Right.
Or particle beam, maybe, I don't know. But yes.
With all the projects you've worked on, John Hutchison has worked on, and I'm sure many other Tesla enthusiasts, where do you see the world 50 years from now?
I think we will see more of this technology come to light, and it already is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just slow, I guess. It's almost like I would dare to say that they don't want to admit that they already have the technology in use. So they're kind of letting it occur organically in the public anyway, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Fascinating.
Because much of this, like for example, the Baker patents on the gravity wave propulsion, they discuss using radioactives and multiple particle beams or microwave beams, and generating these gravity fields within a substance, but using or including, I should say, and also magnetic fields. But they also discuss coating a craft in specific materials, say for example crystalline or magnetic material, enhance this effect. It would be analogous to if you had these gyroscopes that were generating the gravitational field. You get all the gyroscopes inside the object to line up with each other so that they all act in perfect unison to enhance the effect, is essentially what's going on in this case.
So what type of projects are you working on now, Donald?
Well, the main things I personally do is in wireless broadcasts using electrostatics, but I also spend a lot of time tuning in on receivers and looking for terrestrial waveforms, watching storms, and trying to tune in. I found several different terrestrial signals, but haven't managed to pull very much power out yet.
When it comes to the ET question, extraterrestrials, what is your opinion?
Well, I definitely think that the universe is a big place, and at the same time, I think a lot of what we might consider extraterrestrials might actually be from here, and could very well have been here much longer than we have, for all we know.
Right.
But the universe is a very vast place with vast distances to cover.
During doing the research that you do, have you ever come across anything that just might be from outside of this world, or a communication from outside this world to this world?
No, I have not. Now, Tesla did. The reason for this is because in 1901, Tesla patented a method for increasing electrical oscillations, I believe, going off the top of my head. And what he describes in the patent is supercooling a coil. Now, this is 10 years before superconductors were supposedly invented. But what he describes as supercooling a coil, much like you might use in radio astronomy. And this is how Tesla was able to pick up signals from space, is because he was using supercooled coils.
Interesting.
Yes.
If people want to find out more about Nikola Tesla, where would you point them to?
Well, there's a lot of information. There are his patents, which are a fantastic source of information. A lot of reading there. There's also his Colorado Springs notes, which are very interesting on their own and detail many of his experiments. There's a fantastic book that was written by a contemporary of Tesla. Let me see if I have it here. I have quite the large library. Here it is. And this one is called The Inventions, Research, and Writings of Nikola Tesla, and it's authored by, what was this fellow's name? Oh, boy. I don't recall, but I'm sure it can be looked up quite easily. But it was written by a former president of the Institute of Electrical Engineers at the time of during the time of Tesla's life, and
right.
It has very great insight into Tesla's technology.
Wasn't there also a lot of controversy between who invented the electric light, whether it was actually Tesla or if it was Edison?
Well, I would have to say Edison had dibs on that one. In fact, I came across a little something doing some research for one of my school projects, and this is probably going to break the heart of a lot of Tesla enthusiasts. But the facts are facts, that neither Tesla nor Marconi deserves credit for the radio, because Edison had them both beat. And let me see if I can. Edison did some work with a fellow named Smith. He made a couple of patents for the railroad. Here we go. And it was for communicating with moving trains along the railroad, and he came up with a method of wireless communications that used the roof of the train and the telegraph wires that ran next to the tracks. And
right.
he basically broadcast a radio signal, what is essentially a radio signal, down the telegraph wires that would not interfere with the telegraph wires' normal operation. Now, I've heard it said that this method used on magnetic coupling, but it does not. And in 1891, Edison patented a system for communicating with offshore ships that used an electrostatically coupled antenna. And in fact, he even says it's an electrostatic coupling in the patent. So really, Edison had them all beat by about 9 years.
Son of a gun. Hey, Donald, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's been very interesting. Thank you for sharing with us. And I'd love to have you back on in the future.
Well, thank you very much.
Take care of yourself. And Exo Nation, if you'd like to find out more about Donald Knowling and view his videos, just go to YouTube. And in the search engine, type in Tesla Cult. Thanks again for your time, Donald. A pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
All right, Exo Nation. You know what time it is? It's time that we take a news break at the top of the hour. When we come back, more from the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology right here in the X Zone. Because this is truly a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here. So whatever you do, Don't go away. I'll be back on the other side of this news with another interesting and exciting guest here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.